Welcome to the What Science Says channel. Okay, let's unpack this. Based on the available sources, we're taking a deep dive into something, well, incredibly common, allergies.
Yeah, allergies. They affect so many of us and our pets too, surprisingly.
Exactly. We're looking at why our bodies, and yeah, our pets' bodies sometimes just sort of overreact to everyday things. Stuff like pollen, dust.
Or even each other, as we'll see.
Right. Leading to everything from, sniffles and annoying skin rashes to much more serious reactions.
And we'll be looking at what the science tells us about understanding it all, how to manage it, and even some really interesting new ideas about prevention.
It's a fascinating journey, really, from the tiny immune cells right up to the environment we live in.
Yeah.
So let's start at the basics. What exactly is an allergy at its core?
Fundamentally, it's your immune system making a mistake. It sees a substance that's normally harmless, could be pollen, pet dander, a certain food.
Things most people don't react to.
Exactly. But your immune system flags it as a threat, like a dangerous invader, and launches an attack.
So it's like a false alarm going off in your body.
That's a great way to put it. The first time you encounter this allergen, you might not notice anything, but inside, your immune system is getting ready. It's called sensitization.
Sensitization, okay.
Your body starts producing specific antibodies called IgE antibodies that are tailor-made for that exact allergen. Think of them as little wanted posters sticking to certain immune cells.
Okay, so they're primed, waiting.
Uh-huh. Waiting. Then, the next time you encounter that same allergen,
The antibodies recognize it.
they do, the allergen locks onto those IgE antibodies, and that's the trigger. It tells those immune cells to release a flood of chemicals. Histamine is the most famous one.
Ah, histamine. That's the one that causes all the trouble.
It's a major player, yeah. It causes a lot of the classic allergy symptoms.
And those symptoms, they can be really varied, can't they? We think of sneezing, runny nose.
For sure, that's allergic rhinitis, very common. But it can also be itchy, watery eyes, that pressure you feel in your face from congestion, coughing, tightness in the chest.
Wheezing, too.
Yes, wheezing can be a sign of allergic asthma. And importantly for our discussion, allergies often show up on the skin.
Right, the skin connection.
Mm.
Rashes. How does an allergy actually cause a skin rash?
Well, a rash is basically just inflammation you can see on the skin. And that inflammation can be sparked by different things, infections, irritating chemicals, or the immune system's response during an allergic reaction.
So the allergy triggers inflammation, and the inflammation shows up as the rash.
Precisely. Whether you touch the allergen, inhale it, or even eat it sometimes, those chemicals released by the immune system cause inflammation in the skin layers.
Okay, and there are different kinds of rashes linked to allergies.
Yeah, several. Eczema or atopic dermatitis is a type of chronic inflammation often linked with allergies or sensitivities. Then there's contact dermatitis, that's a really clear one.
That's when you touch something directly.
Exactly, like poison ivy or nickel in jewelry. You get that red, itchy, maybe blistery patch right where the contact happened, often with a sharp edge.
Yeah, I've seen that, definitely.
It's a classic allergic contact dermatitis. But the sources also mention other rash causes, like infections, chickenpox, shingles, measles, or autoimmune issues like lupus with its butterfly rash. It just shows a rash needs figuring out.
Absolutely. It tells you something's going on, but not always what. And allergies are a big potential cause.
The very significant one.
Now, most allergies are, well, annoying.
Yeah.
But some can be genuinely dangerous, right?
That's a really critical point. Sneezing is one thing, but severe allergic reactions, known as anaphylaxis, those are true medical emergencies.
That's when breathing gets difficult or blood pressure drops.
Yes, exactly. Anaphylaxis is a rapid, full-body reaction. It can be life-threatening and needs immediate medical help. That's why people with known severe allergies often carry an epinephrine autoinjector.
Like an EpiPen or Auvi-Q.
Correct. Having that ready is crucial for managing those severe risks.
And there was that tragic news story about Riley Brown that really drives home how serious this can be.
Yes, the Otogo Daily Times article reported on the death of Riley Brown, a young man with a known nut allergy. According to the report, based on his mother's account, he ate dinner at a facility, believed he was having an allergic reaction afterwards, and then experienced a cardiac arrest.
And the staff reportedly thought the meal was safe for him.
That's what the source states, yes. That staff believed the meal contained no nuts.
It's just awful. And the cause of death is still under investigation, based on the article.
Yes. It's important we stick to what's reported in the source. Known allergy, perceived reaction, cardiac arrest, meal thought to be safe. We can't speculate further. But it absolutely underscores the need for vigilance, knowing triggers, and having emergency plans for severe allergies.
Absolutely. A stark reminder. Okay, let's shift gears a bit. Let's talk about pets. We all know people can be allergic to pets,
Uh-huh. Very common.
but this relationship is, well, more complicated than it seems, isn't it?
It really is. And this is where it gets really interesting. The common idea is you're allergic to the fur, right? Long hair, more allergies.
Yeah, that's what I always thought.
But the science says it's usually not the hair itself. It's proteins. Proteins the animal makes in its skin glands, saliva, even urine. These proteins stick to the dander, the tiny dead skin flakes, and the hair just carries it around.
So short-haired cats or hypoallergenic dogs aren't necessarily safe then.
Not necessarily, no. They still produce the proteins, the dander, the saliva. That's where the main allergens are.
Okay, so what are the symptoms if you're allergic to, say, a cat or dog?
Pretty much the classic allergy symptoms we talked about: sneezing, runny or stuffy nose, itchy or watery eyes, maybe some facial pain from the congestion, coughing. And if you touch the animal or it licks you, you might get a skin rash or hives where the contact happened.
Right, so how do you find out for sure if it's the pet causing your misery?
Well, the best route is usually seeing an allergist. They'll talk to you about your symptoms and timing and then likely do some testing.
Skin test.
Skin prick tests are very common. They put tiny amounts of different allergen extracts, including cat and dog extracts, on your skin and make a tiny prick. If you're allergic, you'll get a little red itchy bump, like a mosquito bite.
And blood tests, too.
Yes, blood tests can measure those IgE antibodies we mentioned earlier, specific to pet allergens. They can even test for specific proteins now.
Oh, yeah, you mentioned that, like FIL-D1 for cats.
Exactly. FeLD1 is the big one for cats, found in saliva and skin. For dogs, there are several: CanF1, CanF2, and interestingly, CanF5, which is mainly found in the urine of male dogs.
Wow, so you could be more allergic to a male dog than a female dog.
It's possible, yeah, if CanF5 is your main trigger. It shows how specific these reactions can be.
Okay, so let's say the tests come back positive. You're allergic to your furry friend.
Yeah.
But giving them up is just not going to happen. What can you do?
Right, that's the reality for many people. The sources all agree avoidance is the most effective strategy, but yeah, often not desirable or possible. So the focus shifts to reducing your exposure level within your home.
How do you do that? What works?
Making the bedroom a strictly pet-free zone is a big one. You spend a lot of time there, so keeping allergens low can really help. Keeping pets off furniture, especially upholstered stuff and carpets, helps too.
And cleaning. Lots of cleaning.
Definitely. Vacuuming frequently, ideally with a HEPA filter vacuum that traps those tiny particles. Washing bedding, including the pet's bedding, weekly in hot water. Using HEPA air purifiers can also help remove airborne allergens. And simple things like washing your hands after petting the animal.
What about bathing the pet? Does that help wash the allergens off?
That's a bit more mixed in the sources, actually. Some suggest bathing the pet weekly or bi-weekly might help lower airborne allergens temporarily. Others say the studies haven't consistently shown a big benefit, and it might not last long. Environmental cleaning seems more consistently recommended.
Interesting. So focus on the environment first. What about medications for symptoms?
Lots of options there. Nasal steroid sprays, like Flonase or Nasonex, are often recommended first for nasal symptoms because they reduce inflammation.
Antihistamines too, right? Yeah. Claritin, Zyrtec.
Yes, oral antihistamines help with itching, sneezing, runny nose. There are non-drowsy options available over the counter now, and decongestants can help with stuffiness.
But there was something about decongestants changing.
Ah, yes. Good point. The FDA has raised concerns about the effectiveness of oral phenylephrine, which is in many common cold and allergy meds. Pseudoephedrine, which is more effective, is usually kept behind the pharmacy counter now, and oral decongestants should be used carefully, especially if you have high blood pressure.
Okay, so sprays, pills, anything else?
Saline nasal rinses can help flush things out. There are eye drops for itchy eyes. And for more severe breathing issues, doctors might prescribe inhalers or other meds like leukotriene modifiers.
Seems like a lot to manage symptoms. Is there anything that tackles the allergy itself?
Yes, immunotherapy or allergy shots. That's the approach that tries to change your immune system's response over time.
How does that work?
You get regular injections with tiny, gradually increasing doses of the allergen you react to, like cat or dog extract. Over months and years, this can help your body build tolerance so you react less severely.
But it takes a long time, you said.
It does. It's a big commitment, usually 3 to 5 years of shots. But for many people, it offers significant, long-lasting relief. even after they stop the treatment.
And what was that really novel idea about cat food?
Oh, right. That's pretty cutting edge. Research is looking at feeding cats a special food containing an antibody that neutralizes the main cat allergen, FeLD1, right in their saliva.
So the cat grooms itself, but the saliva has less active allergen.
Exactly. The idea is to reduce the amount of allergen the cat spreads into the environment in the first place. Still early days in terms of widespread use, but a really interesting approach.
Definitely thinking differently.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so humans allergic to pets.check. Management.check. Now for the real mind bender.
The plot twist.
Dogs can be allergic to humans.
Seriously. It sounds strange, but yes. Dogs can develop allergies to human dander, the skin flakes and hair we shed constantly, just like they shed dander.
Wow, okay. So how would you even know if your dog is allergic to you? What are the signs in the dog?
It's mostly skin problems for them. You'd see things like relentless scratching, licking, chewing at their skin, maybe leading to red, irritated areas, hot spots, hair loss, sometimes hives. Their skin might get really dry and flaky or sometimes moist and infected from all the irritation.
So less sneezing, more itching.
They can have some respiratory signs too, maybe some sneezing, runny nose, snoring more, watery eyes. But the skin issues are usually the most prominent sign of environmental allergies in dogs, including allergy to human dander.
Poor pups. That sounds miserable. How does a vet diagnose something like that? Must be tough to pinpoint.
It can be tricky, yeah, because so many things can cause itchy skin in dogs. The vet will usually start by ruling out other causes like fleas or food allergies. Blood tests for allergies exist, but they're not always perfectly accurate.
So what's the best way then?
The gold standard test, especially for environmental allergies, is intradermal allergy testing. This is usually done by a veterinary dermatologist.
What does that involve?
It's similar to the skin prick test in humans, but a bit more involved. The dog is usually sedated lightly, areas of fur are shaved, and then tiny amounts of various potential allergens, including extracts of human dander, are injected just under the skin. The vet then watches for reactions like little red welts at the injection sites.
Okay, that's quite the procedure. And if they find the dog is allergic to human dander, what can be done? Can you treat it?
Yes, there are treatments, similar categories to human treatments, actually. Corticosteroids can help reduce the itching and inflammation quickly. Antihistamines might offer some relief. There are medicated shampoos and topical creams like cortisone cream. And if they get skin infections from scratching, they'll need antibiotics.
Can dogs get allergy shots too? Like immunotherapy?
They can. It works on the same principle, gradually exposing the dog to small amounts of the allergen, like human dander extract, through injections over time to try and desensitize their immune system.
Does it work well for dogs?
It can be effective for many dogs, but it takes time, often several months, to see results. And it doesn't work for every dog. And just like in humans, there's a very small risk of a severe reaction, so the vet might prescribe an EpiPen for the dog, just in case.
An EpiPen for a dog. Wow. Are certain breeds more likely to have these kinds of skin allergies?
It seems so, yeah. Some breeds appear more prone to developing allergies in general. The sources mention breeds like pit bulls, Bichon Frises, poodles, bulldogs, German shepherds, spaniels, setters, terriers, and retrievers often pop up on lists for skin allergy susceptibility.
Good to know. Okay, this is fascinating. We've covered human allergies, pet allergies, even pets allergic to humans. But the research you found suggests an even bigger story connecting all this, right? Something about our environment and microbes.
Absolutely. If we zoom out, the relationship between pets, allergies, and our health gets even more complex and, frankly, more interesting. It goes beyond just exposure to allergens.
You mean, could having pets actually protect us from allergies sometimes?
That's the really provocative idea emerging from the research. Several studies suggest that being exposed to pets, especially dogs, and maybe farm animals too, very early in life, like in the first year or even the first few weeks, might actually lower your risk of developing allergies and asthma later on.
Wow. So the opposite of what you might think. Early exposure could be good.
It seems that way, potentially. The thinking has shifted from the old hygiene hypothesis, the idea we were too clean, towards the microbial hypothesis.
Microbial hypothesis, what's that?
The idea is that early life exposure to a diverse range of microbes, bacteria, fungi, viruses found in the environment, on animals, in soil, helps train the developing immune system. It teaches it to be more balanced and less likely to overreact to harmless things later on.
So it's about the variety of bugs you meet early on?
Exactly. More diversity seems to be better for programming the immune system correctly. And pets definitely change the microbial landscape of a home. Studies show homes with pets have greater microbial diversity.
And we actually share microbes with our pets.
We do. Research found that the community of microbes living on our skin, or skin microbiota, is partly shared between dogs and their owners living together. We're literally exchanging microbes.
That's incredible.
Isn't it? And there's another interesting piece. Studies suggest both people and dogs in cities might be more prone to allergies than those in rural areas. And urban living seems to make the skin microbiota of both humans and dogs less diverse.
So the city environment might be reducing that beneficial microbial exposure for both us and our pets.
That's a strong possibility researchers are looking into. It suggests our environment, our lifestyle, and the microbes we encounter are all interconnected with allergy risk.
What about having pets later in life? Does that still help?
That's less clear. The strongest evidence seems to be for that early life exposure window. Whether continuing exposure remains protective or could become a risk factor later is still being debated and researched.
But this whole microbial angle is fascinating. It suggests new ways to maybe prevent allergies down the road.
Absolutely. Understanding how these microbes interact with our immune system could lead to totally new prevention strategies, maybe even things that mimic the beneficial microbial exposure without needing direct contact with animals. It's a really exciting frontier.
It really shifts the perspective. Okay, before we finish, let's quickly tackle a couple of common allergy myths. First one, if you have an allergy, are you stuck with it forever?
Not always, it depends. Some childhood food allergies, like milk or egg, are often outgrown. Environmental allergies, like pollen or dust mites or pets, tend to be more persistent, but symptoms can often be managed very well, and sometimes they do lessen with age. So, no, not always for life.
Good to know. Second myth, can eating local honey cure your pollen allergies?
Ugh, the honey myth. The science on that is really weak or non-existent. There's no solid evidence it works. Plus, raw honey isn't safe for babies under 1 because of botulism risk. And ironically, for someone really sensitive, the small amount of pollen in honey could potentially even trigger symptoms.
So probably best not to rely on honey as allergy medicine.
Definitely not. Which leads us back to the main advice.
Right. Taking action. So if you suspect you have allergies, the sneezing, the rashes, whatever it is, what's the bottom line?
See a professional. For you, that means talking to your doctor or maybe an allergist or a dermatologist, depending on your symptoms. They can help figure out what's really going on, identify your triggers, and create a proper treatment plan.
And if you think your dog might be the one suffering?
Same principle. See a professional. Your veterinarian is the first stop. They can assess your dog's symptoms, rule out other issues, and suggest treatments. If it's complicated, they might refer you to a veterinary dermatologist for specialized testing and management, like those allergy shots we talked about.
Makes sense. Get a proper diagnosis from someone who knows.
Exactly.
So wrapping this up,
Yeah.
allergies are clearly complicated. They're these immune system overreactions showing up in lots of ways, including on the skin. And it's not just us, our dogs can get them too, even becoming allergic to us sometimes.
Quite the tangled web.
Yeah. And while we have ways to manage them, avoiding triggers, cleaning, medications, immunotherapy, the really exciting science seems to be pointing towards our early environment, especially the microbes we encounter, maybe from pets, as playing a key role in preventing allergies from even starting.
It really makes you think about our connection to the world around us, doesn't it? Down to the invisible level. How living with animals, living in different environments, might be shaping our immune health in ways we're just beginning to grasp.
It's a profound thought, how our interactions with nature, with our pets, are influencing us so deeply. Thank you for staying with us until the end of this video. Please make sure to subscribe to the What Science Says channel and give us energy with your likes and comments.
Share your thoughts with us and send this video to your loved ones so others can benefit from it too.